We are Age Rich because we create remedies for life made by life. I'm Scarlett Vesper, aka Mrs. V, and founder of agerich.co, your go-to place for age rich remedies to help you find love, get rich, awaken your intuition, and feel free. So now let's open the remedy kit and discover why we're all age rich. Welcome to this special edition of Age Rich because it is all about mothers today. And I thought, what better person that I can discuss my mum with, and that is my sister. So she'll be joining us shortly to discuss the remedies as mothers that we have found in our own life, and also the remedies that we've learnt from our own mum, because this is our first Mother's Day without our mum who passed 5 months ago. So what I have learnt really about being a mother, and I think the most important remedy was really discovering unconditional love. That was just phenomenal, is to really feel such a deep connection that is not of self, like you don't worry about yourself. Like I've never felt that unconditional towards another being. And I think that really taught me the huge capacity for love and healing, and gives you resilience and so many amazing strengths that you gain from getting unconditional love. Number two is I learned so much around how children reflect our own stuff. And I just have so many stories where my son Henry was behaving in a certain way or was ill about something. And when I actually tuned into the projection about what was happening for me, he was just kind of reflecting that back. And that was such a great learning for me, because it's everything in life, but I learned it from him. So that was amazing, is to really see how children reflect back so much of our own stuff. And the last one really is about to let go and let grow. You know, I was so attached to my son, and he was such a big, he created such a big change in who I was as a person, that, and I felt very attached and very protective, as we all do. But I had to learn to let go. And I think it's such a balance, as you know, as a parent, you know, to balance giving them advice and guidance, but at the same time letting them do their own thing, because it's how they learn and grow. So where's the place that you have to sit? And I've just learnt, you know, I'm still learning, because I can feel myself sometimes going, I don't say that, but I say it. So I found it just super important to stay present to what's my motivation behind the guidance. Am I trying to control him? Is it because I don't trust him? And that was a big realization I had, is the more that I tried to help him, I was actually disempowering him. So that was a big shift for me to come into that. And I'm still learning, as we all do, about attachment and letting go. So without any further ado, I'd love to introduce my sister, Paula Punch, and we're going to find out her remedies for being a mum. And we're going to talk about what we learnt together. And in fact, we discovered that they were all the same. So we're going to share in turn about what we both learnt from our own mum. So this is a very special episode, because my sister's joining me today. She is an amazing fashionista, has been in the fashion industry for years and years, and now, well, actually always, is a singer-songwriter. And she has her album, which you happen to have the cover there. Paula, bring it up. There it is, Song to the Trees. There she is. Look at that, rock chick. I love it. And she's perfect in terms of age rich, because you have totally stepped into what you wanted to do, because you're in corporate for a long time, and then you thought, no, I'm going to do it. I don't care what age I am. And that's right. When? So would you like to, that's it. That's it. And this is the whole thing. I mean, Paula, you know, knows everything that we're doing, and age rich and very much involved. She's my sounding board on many subjects. And, you know, I think it's funny, because even starting from the 216, when I started investigating about the ageism, or thinking, God, there's, you know, where's all the women in magazines or the stock shots, you know, and I'm still feeling like that, and it's still prevalent. So Anyway, so this is Paula, and today, yes, our mum passed 5 months ago, and so this is our first Mother's Day without her today. And, of course, I got a bit teary this morning, and, and I actually got some flowers here. I don't know if you can see these beautiful flowers. And I didn't know because I never got the colour right with Mum, so I got all different colours. And it was funny.
I think yellow.
What did you say? She didn't like yellow, so I'd get a yellow, which was funny because I kept hearing yellow. But it was funny because I think I did a reading. I don't know if I told you that she was going to show me red and yellow or red and pink together, and I saw these. So I was like, oh, my goodness. She's here with us in spirit. She'd be very proud of us, I think. So what I just have briefly talked about, my remedies, that I as a mum have found. I mean, what is firstly, actually, I want to ask you, sorry to put this on you, but what's your life remedy? I mean, do you have a life remedy where you are now? Like, what's the one thing where you go, oh, wow, everything I've gone through has brought me to this?
Gosh, everything that I've gone through has brought me to this. Well, I think it's just being not worried about what people think. I think that much of my life I'm very empathetic, and I really can read people, and I feel a room, and I take on a lot of stuff. So when I feel something from others, I'm a bit of a chameleon. I can actually I know what they want. And so that's a really handy thing to have. But on the flip side, the bad thing is that you can actually, you're then maybe sort of affected by what they're thinking of you and what you're doing. And so as I've got older, I've learned a little better to actually just focus on the things that matter around you and how you feel, and get on with it rather than sort of second guessing other people.
So true, because you lose. Because I'm a little bit like that too. I'll adapt to a room, or maybe it's part of our makeup, and I think it's hard because you do lose yourself. So it's been hard to go, well, who am I? Like when I started doing work on camera, I was like, well, who am I? No, I'm about making other people feel good as a director. So that was a big journey to go, well, and without your ego, you kind of don't want your ego in kind of playing out, but at the same time you want to have a healthy ego and good sense of self. And so no, I love that you've said that, because I agree. And okay, so let's talk about your 3 remedies as a mom.
When you were asking before, I thought resilience would be my first one. As a mother, you have to have resilience, and the children, I think, look to you for that solidarity, that surety, and I think that's the best thing that you can give them. I think that every mother has to go through so much. You have to really sort of have that inbuilt resilience, and sometimes you sort of. I remember thinking, well, what am I going to be like as a mother? It's amazing how that resilience just naturally comes out in mothers when they are faced with this. You look back and you go, how did I do that? How did I do that? But you find it.
I know.
Because you have to. So that's number one.
And what's your
number two? Sort of links with that. I think you having the resilience and showing the way for children leads to the next one, which is about responsibility. We tend to we love our children so much, and a lot of us need our children, but because we love having that unconditional love, but at a certain point, as they get older and they don't really rely on you as much, I think it's good to just change the dial back a little bit, so that you show them, well, actually, I have a life on my own. I'm okay by myself. I love you, and I will always be there for you. But you don't depend on them for the reflection of love, and it frees them, I think, in many ways, that you're not depending on them for your own happiness. Mm.
Yeah, beautiful.
And the
Very
third
true.
one,
Yes, and number
which
3?
is also linked to resilience again, is being ready for whatever is thrown at you. And we all have things that come up in our life, and especially when you have children, you have whatever happens to them, sort of impacts you. What happens to your husband, and so just showing, being an example of being able to pivot when things sort of change, and how you adapt to it. It's really, you can't stop things that are going to happen inevitably. You can't, you really need to focus on the things that you can change, and how you adapt to the things that have happened to you is what makes the difference, I think, in our lives. Mm.
Yeah, beautiful.
Three
I love those
R's.
remedies.
3 R's.
You're a good mum.
I mean, yeah,
You're a good
the
mum.
fashion,
She's a
years of
great
fashion
mum.
marketing is sort of like, had to be 3 R's.
Yeah, well, I think, yeah, I mean, you had, yeah, because you had the whole thing about
Yes.
going from corporate. You just felt, because we always would give birth to guilt, I think. We feel guilty because we're at work or whatever. So then you had the flip where
No,
you're
totally.
working more from
I
home
mean,
and,
when the boys arrived, I did have that. I was lucky enough to have the early years where I was flexible. I did freelance work until
mm,
Michael was 5, and so I value that. But then after that, I was traveling many times a year, for 2 weeks at a time, and so my husband
oh,
had
that's right.
to look after the boys. And I and really in retail, it was anything up to 60-hour weeks. Like we really did work very hard and beyond. And
You were beyond. I mean,
it was
I work
really
hard,
hard
but
work.
that was,
So
yeah.
when
Mm.
about 7 years ago, I sort of left David Jones. I really had the choice: do I go back to a corporate or not? And I decided no. Now I'm going to do my own thing, and I did the online business, and that gave me. I thought at that time, actually, my boys would have moved out around that time. They're still
Little did it's a new world now, Paula. They don't
they're still
leave.
staying. But what it's done is it's given me more time with them, which has been really lovely, which I didn't have before. It gave me
Mm.
time with Mum before she passed away, which is so wonderful. And so now, and just being home more, the guitar was there. So that's where the pivot, the change happened for me. I just I reconnected with my music in a big way.
I've been so jealous of you always because I do so many different types of things, but Paula's always been music. So there's no,
Mm.
it's so clear for you, which I think has been, a lot of people who do have those
Yeah,
different things. What do I focus on?
yeah.
So I love that you've done that. And so, yes, so let's talk about Mama. And yeah, she was quite a force in our life. At the end of this podcast, I'm going to play a video that I took a few years ago. I mean, she was still 92, I think, in the video. Amazing woman. And it was just very impromptu. I just said, hey, we just had got a coffee. Tell me about your secrets of life. And, and
And
she
it's
shares
quite very
those.
good. She
So
doesn't
I'll play
like
that at
going
the
on,
end, which
or she
is,
didn't like going on camera.
she hated it. And she said to me at the end, she says, you're not going to show this, are you? It's like, yeah. So one of the things is she's, she's been a very big force in our life, and she's, I've certainly had my moments where we would like fight like cat and dog, and because she was very strong and I was strong and stubborn, and but we became very good friends, which was lovely because I think she's so sharp and so intelligent, and so she had I'm feeling tingly
Mm.
now.
Mm.
She was very
Mm.
graceful and regal, So anyway, we have thought about, so what are the
But we're
things that we learned?
we're
So
planting a
would you
tree
like
for
to
her
take
on
that
the
one off?
weekend. down
Yes,
where we
we are.
used to
We're
go
doing
for
it
coffee,
today.
the Lower North Shore.
Yeah,
And
at Maggio's.
so
Yeah,
that's our
beautiful.
Mother's Day, sort of little tribute to her.
That's our Mother's Day tribute. So
Yes,
here, number one,
respect,
Paula.
respect.
Um,
And Mum
yes,
always said,
yes,
love will come naturally if you have that. Well, after that, respect is number one. You can't have love without respect, is I think the line she used to say. And it's
that's
so
it.
true
That's it.
too. I think that a lot of really really good marriages are built on the respect that both partners have for each other, and it's great for the children to see that respect.
It's everything. I mean, if you don't have respect for another person, like it's just everything. Even the whole thing around age rich and our elders, like love is about respect for your elders. And I think, goodness, she certainly not demanded that, but she lived it truly because she had that. And it wasn't it was a respect that was a very quiet respect. It wasn't a demanding one. It was just her being confident in herself and still feeling very much. She had a lot of empathy, but she had good boundaries, I think, which she taught us. So number two is quality is better than quantity. So we learned that mainly through our clothing.
Quality and quantity. We won't go there.
Yes, let's not go there. Let's not go there. So quality always taught us you must buy well. So of course that justified us spending on expensive brands, which she does, the longevity, but everything, in the food and she had quality was the most important thing rather than most of it.
Three is
Thank you. Yes, what's number three?
manage your own money, plus manage the small things, like be mindful of how you're spending your money every day. I just was amazed. Still at 93, she'd say, Paula, get my pad in the study, and I'd sort of go and get the pad and pen, and she would actually she'd like to keep a record of what she's spending and how much she's spending, so she can actually budget in the months to come. I mean, I that is so far from what I do, but but
I have a bit of my mother in me on that one.
but
I spend, but I have the bit
I'm
of that
going to take
happening.
that on, and I just think it is. Yes, it is.
Are you
such,
listening, Mama?
sort of, I respect her so much for the way she managed her money, and she always said, like, have your own money, have your own career, and both our parents really felt strongly about that. That back in the time when, really, I think more and more women had their own career, but it wasn't at a period where it was just given. But they definitely made us feel it was a given that you had to have your own career.
It's interesting she's like that because, I mean, our grandmother, her mum didn't work or anything. She'd play bridge and she'd do the charity things. And our great-grandfather was an accountant. So I think she learned a lot from him because he was very much training her to be independent. So that was definitely passed down to us. And Dad just totally trusted her with everything. So it's good. So the next one, number 4, is every day look your best. So she'd never go out looking, she always looked like she was going out to somewhere expensive. And she just felt, because you never know who you run into, and also just a sense of self, because she'd buy something, and I remember someone saying to her, but no one's going to see it. She goes, I'll see it. I don't care. It's how I feel about myself. So I love that from a personal brand point of view. That completely resonates.
And I think it's a really good way of being, and it I think it's interesting every day to sort of coordinate as being in fashion. I love being able to go to the wardrobe in the morning and go, okay, what mood am I in? What am I going to dress today? I mean, you can be lazy some days and just put the easy thing on. But I think that, she's an inspiration in that regard, because I know that she always sort of liked to look her best. Mm.
Absolutely.
Mm.
She was
And hair
always looked
done, hair
amazing.
done, and
And
she was
hair done, always looked good, had facial
no,
smears, although she didn't, but she looked incredible. Oh my goodness, her skin, when you see her at the
yeah,
end,
and
her
hair.
skin is
You
incredible.
and Mum have the
So,
same.
and
Yeah.
hair. Yes, I got her hair, which I was a bit lucky for. Number
Following a
5.
code of behaviour. Really, she was from a child. She was taught very well on manners and the way to behave, and she really showed that to us and children, that it didn't matter who you were speaking to. You treat everybody the same, um, and I think also the code of behaviour that she taught us was very important to her. It shows respect for other people.
Well, and it was interesting because she went to Rose Bay Convent and then she went to finishing school, and she had a particular code of ethics and behaviour from that experience and who she was as a person and brought up. But, you know, the wonderful thing about her is she was not, I mean, like all of us, she had her judgmental bits of her, but she was always so empathetic, you know, like, but very kind, and, you know, like, yeah, she was had a very, very good balance, and you know, she was just, and she's very spiritual. You know, our mother was, you know, very Catholic and loved Mary MacKillop and totally relied on her, and you know, and we had our moments because I'm not, you know, I'm not a practicing Catholic, and so there was a lot of times of, you're going to be, if you don't be a Catholic. But where we got to later on, I think, was she just respected the fact that I have a very deep, rich spiritual life. And so that's where the balance she got to, where she didn't have that kind of ridiculous, staunch kind of judgment. She was very open, and she learned and she evolved up until the day she passed. You know, really, she was quite extraordinary in that front. And I think regardless of whatever religion you're brought up with, it just, to be brought up on a spiritual sense opens your mind to possibility. And I think, you know, that's been a blessing to have that. And so hence, which is number 6, spirituality is where you'll find peace and success. And that's where we certainly all agreed on. I mean, I certainly did with her, was that as I get older, my spiritual life is more important, because it's all about your mental health. And when you realize that money doesn't buy happiness, yes, you need it. But if you don't have a general heart sense of who you are, your spiritual self and your soul, and how you fit into community, you're not going to be fulfilled. That's why there's a lot of people, I believe, who are wealthy and, you know, aren't happy because it's not giving them what they think it is. So I think that was a great tip. I think that we, you know, both learnt from her.
The next one is
Number 7. Nicely illustrated there, Paula. That was a big one, because I was the type when I was a child. You were very good at it, but I wasn't. I just had to tell everyone everything. I was just like, because I was, you know, Cancerian, I wanted them all to know. And I felt there was an element of, I'm being truthful. If I say how I'm feeling, like there's a truthfulness and a connection. But obviously, you know, I got that one a little bit wrong. But at the same time, you know, it's had its benefits on other levels.
And like to share. But I think Mum was like that too. But I think over time she valued just being able to listen more and step back. And so she always tried to teach that to us.
She always tried, although she did start saying what she felt.
Older, she did start talking more and saying very loudly.
She didn't care so much. It was quite funny. It's like,
never,
okay.
What did you say? Never eat. What was it?
Never eat when you walk. So that was funny. I was thinking the other day, I was going along and someone was eating. And I thought, oh, it was terrible when you're eating and walking. And I went, oh, there's another tip that she told me, which was never eat and walk. So there you go. I think that was one when I was at school.
She also did, from a safety point of view, never hold something while you're running. Well, she just wouldn't let her young children hold something while they're running around, because they could fall and hurt themselves. And so, being a nurse, she was very conscious of safety. So never eat when you walk, and never hold something while you're walking.
And she was always really funny about wide bras.
Yes.
I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't really know that. And
I thought it was the wire was the metal was bad, like put rays out or something, but I completely misunderstood. It's that the wire can come out of your bra.
Well, anyway, I missed that one.
Never heard of that before. So make sure there's no holes in your underwire.
She said that to me now. I have actually sort of the new ones I've bought without marks.
Is that interesting?
And was it always by where you live? Is that right?
No, well, that one was around whenever, if you're going to invest in a property, because our mother did very well with property and investment. She had a very, very good business sense, and we moved a bit because she'd renovate, but she loved renovating and art design, and she was an interior designer as well. But she also, the main thing she said is, if you invest somewhere, make sure you would live in it. Don't buy an investment property that you wouldn't live in.
And her, I think I always remember her saying father, who always said, buy where you know. You know, like don't go off and buy something in an area you don't know, which I think was very, very good.
Very good advice. Very good advice. And yes, and we've touched on that already. Which
always eat fresh food.
What does it put?
My mum used to, and I know this now because doing her shopping in the last couple of years, she always wanted to have fresh food. She wouldn't have things in the freezer, and she loved fresh celery and make celery juice, and she would have fresh vegetables, fresh poultry, and she was very keen on having everything fresh. And I think that I tend to do that. I think you do too. We buy
we both do that
daily basis rather than do the big shop. It's totally inefficient, but it's probably healthy, and it gets you out. There you go. It gets you out walking.
But we had that when we were kids as well. I remember we'd always go and we'd get some fresh meats, and then I'd be in trouble because I ate all of them, or there would be some ham, but it was always fresh. That's right. Amazing. Oh, there's our gorgeous mother. Well, I'm sure she's listening. In fact, my ear was ringing very loudly before we started, so that says to me. It was definitely her pinging. She's around. I've had lights go on and off, so she's very much around us, and we're happy about that. And it is funny, since she's passed, I do feel I have a new relationship with her, which is in spirit, and she's around me. And so, is there anything else you'd like to share?
I'm missing her, and look after your mother. If your mother is still alive, look after your mother, and mothers, look after those children that. Let them go. Let them go.
And let them go, yes, as Luna's just about to go into a barking frenzy. So a very good note to finish. Thank you so much. I love you so much. You're amazing, Mum. And she's been incredible, I have to say, with everything. Looking after my mum, you're just like a little godsend. So happy Mother's Day to everybody. Enjoy the day, enjoy your mums, enjoy your children, and we'll see you soon. Bye. So I'm here with my mother, and Fab over 80, just in case you're looking for an Instagram account. So tell me, hi.
Tell you what, darling.
Tell me, what is for where you are in your life, what are your three tips to having a healthy, happy life?
Oh, finding peace of mind with a great friend, even if it's your husband or a partner, and having another interest besides making money.
Very true.
And that is, first of all, your children. And then when you feel they're beyond you, then concentrate on your hobby, be it golf or, in my case, art history.
Beautiful. And can you just show everyone your gorgeous smile, which we love? Can you?
I can't.
What is your best beauty secret?
Well, my best beauty secret is I noticed when people were getting old that they had wrinkles at each side of their eyes and also their top lip. And that upset me, so I thought, right. I spoke to this Japanese girl who used to sell me things at Shiseido, and she said, eye cream is the thing, and you put that on your top lip. And I have done that for 30 years.
Yeah, that looks amazing.
And it has been very good. But nevertheless, I could do with a miracle for the rest of the cream, for the rest of the face. But I can't. You only do. Look, it's a wonderful thing after you're 80, actually. The way to stay tranquil is to be accepting. You look at it, you do your best, and then you close the mirror, and then off you go.
That's it. Acceptance is really important.
It is. It's very important.
Did you just tell me, though, the eye cream you used to put on your top lip, you still put it on your top lip, which is a fantastic tip.
Shiseido eye cream, yes. Always.
But you put whatever eye cream she puts on her top lip here.
Yes.
See, never would have thought of that.
I wouldn't have either, only the Japanese girl told me so.
And anything else you'd like to share about life and tips in life?
Yes, well, I think one should have some spiritual interest as well, even though perhaps not sure that my daughter appears that.
We'll just skip out that section. So,
I need it. I do.
My mother's very Catholic, and I'm
also a great believer in the power of Mother Makilla from North Sydney, where when my husband was dying of cancer for 9 years, I went there every day to say a little prayer in her chapel.
She does.
And I felt that gave me strength to go on for another day.
So that is the thing, I think, for people, and what I've learned, because we've had our own moments around, Catholic versus I do my spiritual practice is shamanism, and I've been practicing Buddhism. But I know that a spiritual life is a very important life, and I mean, you certainly believe.
Oh, yes.
Because it's something bigger than yourself, yeah?
It is, yes.
Yeah.
And I think, too, thinking of others, I've learned that if you concentrate very much on your own shortcomings, you're looking inward, and therefore you sort of whiz it up like a little nut. And where if you keep thinking, and I have thought of, I've had the 3 children to think about, and that's been enough.
That's been busy enough for her. Tell me, if you wanted a superpower all your life, what would it have been? What superpower would you have liked to have had during your life?
What superpower do you mean?
I always wanted to fly.
Did you?
Super Mrs.
I'd
V.
have liked a nice, beautiful English sports car.
That's not a superpower. You could have had that. What
no,
colour?
I couldn't.
Green. Black.
Aston Martin in black.
In black.
Shiny black.
Nice.
I love
My mother's the reason why I kept my stripes on my Mini. I was going to take them off. She says, no, much cooler to have your stripes on there. I was like, oh my goodness.
Yes.
My mother knows. Well, thank you for sharing everything with everyone.
Don't keep fast cars, though. You might end up round a pole like I did. Now I don't have a license.
I know, she did. She actually was going.
Anyway, I didn't die.
She didn't die.
So that was
she told us a bit later. She's one of those that manages everything
the
herself.
BMW man said that he could now recommend my car to his wife because it saved my life.
See, there you go. Very important safety. Thank you for chatting with us.
That's all right, dear.
I love you loads. And I'm glad everyone could meet you and see how gorgeous you are.
Scarlett, if it goes on air, I shall kill you.